Long live the ANC Youth League, long live. Long live the ANC Youth League, long live. Long live YCL, long live. Long live SASCO, long live. Long live SASCO, long live. Viva ANC, viva. Viva ANC, viva. Tata ANC, tata. Long live President Ramaphosa, long live. Long live President Ramaphosa, long live. Ngiyabonga comrades. Thank you very much, program directors. Thank you very much, Comrade Joy. Comrade Chair. Comrade Joy is a reliable comrade to ourselves and the young people of Gert Sibande and young people in South Africa in general. So me and Comrade Joy have a very common history. We were once slaughtered in the process leading up to the appointment of the NYDA board. I was with Comrade Joy when we were slaughtered. So she's a very brilliant young comrade who is I firmly believe is the future of the organization. Comrade Chair, thank you very much for joining us today and for being a reliable comrade to us. And most importantly, Comrade Chair, because some of these things we must say, the Youth League is going through a very difficult time. And one of the major problems, Comrade Mason, which causes the problems in the Youth League is that you, the old people, are refusing young people their birthright of thinking. So one thing that we appreciate with Comrade Chair is that he allows us to think. He understands that it is natural. It's like going to the toilet. You know, these comrades who don't want young people to think, who want young people to be conveyor belts of their thoughts, are really doing a serious injustice, even not to the organization, but to humanity. Imagine if someone can say, stop going to the toilet. How will you live? So really, Chair, we would really appreciate that part. At times we don't agree with you, and you allow us not to agree with you. And later spin the slangane public. And that is the nature of the Youth League. It must be a Youth League that generates ideas. Comrade David, thank you for taking time from your busy schedule as a deployee of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. We know now that it is time for campaigning, but you took your time to come and join young people of Gert Sibande when we requested you to come and interact with young professionals who are both in the public and the private sector. The leadership of the REC, Comrade Chair and Comrade Secretary, again, thank you very much for keeping this big organization of Mkolisi Majombozi alive. It's not an easy task, and you are doing it under difficult conditions and at a difficult time. You know, Comrade David, I always make an example to Comrade Joy in the National Executive Committee. It is in as a Youth League. Ngendlela sezizinengi ngakhona Comrade Thulas ne. You know, the labantu labanika amaphepha edrobheni mos labo zifo zonke. Umuntu will rather take iphepha lozifo zonke uzathatha iphepha le Youth League. That is how much legitimacy we have lost. Umuntu angamane aye ebushiri nokuthi eze Youth League azokhuluma ngenkinga yakhe. And that is a serious problem. A very, very serious problem. It speaks to our legitimacy. We always say these things to comrades. You know, Comrade Joy, at times, you know, almost the streets of Twitter and Facebook are very rough. You know, at times when we are under siege, I just wish, why are NEC meetings not live, Comrade David? At times you just feel like that. I know it's problematic. I'm just saying that's how bad you feel at times, because when you speak in an NEC, there's no recording. And when you come out tomorrow, you must take responsibility for the entire mess. It's part of leadership, of course. But at times it gets too bad, in particular in the ANC Comrade Joy. So I'm saying, I know, comrades, to call people to a gathering of the Youth League on a Friday like this is not an easy thing. People don't want to associate with us. We have our own subjective and objective weaknesses. But thank you very much. And I think, Comrade Chair, as a parting shot, I'll say the program is good. It's one of the first, but we must also admit that we did not meet our expectations, Comrade Chair. We do not have the number of professionals, Comrade Chair and Comrade David, which we would have loved to have in this house. And to me, it speaks up to the legitimacy of the ANC Youth League. It's not your fault, comrades. I think we worked very hard to mobilize for the event. So, comrade, I think as we move forward, we need to be in a constant engagement with young professionals in Gert Sibande, not only now that it is an election. And I want to sponsor an idea, Comrade Chair and Comrade Secretary, which we can start using building up to the elections, is that would it be impossible for us to have newsletters almost weekly, speaking to different sections of young people in the region? For instance, today, Comrade Kuku, we tried to call young professionals. They are not here in their majority. We ought to write something and leave it in the schools where they are, Comrade Joy. Illness malingena lapha libone ukuthi kune youth league. Iyazi ukuthi I'm overworked. Iyazi ukuthi ngine problem yan OSD, treasury, OSD. Lezi nkinga ze OSD. They must know about that. Kune young professional ESCOM. Kune youth league yaqabanga ukuthi I'm worried about my future because the future of ESCOM is uncertain. Kune young professional esasol. Liyazi ukuthi we are aware that he is not paid the same salary as they pay a white fellow who has got the same qualification and same work experience. It's not a difficult thing to do, comrade. And you just reproduce paper, comrade, say, chair. As chair was speaking, my young professionals, even Naboma Spala, comrade Joy spoke about it. Some of them are extremely disgruntled. They are unhappy because they feel like we're self-serving leadership. So they must know that we are fighting for them, because when we fight for them, we don't convene rallies, comrade Castro. Chair was speaking about some achievements that we are making as a generation of getting young people into the higher corridors of power. And these young people, when these things happen, they think it's magic. They start even thinking that Bushir is delivered. I must take the money, the first salary must go there. And it is battles which are won and fought by the youth league. So I think we must find a way, comrade, some newsletter here. The second matter, comrade Chair, before I just get to the 3 points I want to make. It must be a consistent message, the leadership of the ANC, both in the REC, in the PEC, that young people of South Africa are not happy with the list which we have submitted with the IEC on Tuesday. We have our own weaknesses, comrade Joy, as the National Executive Committee. We have failed young people. And to a certain extent, we must take responsibility. But also the leadership of the ANC must equally take responsibility. Because, you know, I always make an example, Comrade Muzi, you know. I say, who President Thabo Mbeki, no Comrade JZ, no Comrade Kizan. When they served in the NEC of the ANC, Comrade David, they were not elected by any conference. They were co-opted. It was the visionary leadership of Tambo who understood that the future belongs to young people and you must prepare for it. There's no other life besides that. No, it's wrong, madon. No, it's very, you know, Comrade Joy Mos, yes, we of National List Conference. Sekemis. But people still want to go to Parliament. It's not reasonable, let us be frank, Comrade Chair. Logunye as cool men no members, you know, in the list conference, Comrade Ronald said, Mama's chair, Comrade Makingwane admitted that is not coming back. Comrade Ronald said, "Ukelas menzele party, Moses Mabida, this is an RK." Of course, it was before RK Labanin King. But we must just call RK and thank and say, if your conscience speaks to you, you must be able to be rewarded and we give you a role. You can't be in cabinet for 25 years and think that after 25 years, you still have a new idea that you can still produce. It's not practical. You see, this thing, Comrade David, is not ageism. I know we are very skeptical of this thing, extremely. But it's not, I'm saying, comrade, you must play your role and leave, like in any institution, Comrade Canel. You can't want to be there forever. So we are saying, but of course, Comrade Joy, not amongst ourselves, gay. They can't be viable, Comrade Bait. Because being young is not naturally, doesn't mean you are progressive. Yeah. So there are many young people who want to walk and talk like old people. Nabanye bakona nathi siyabalwela ukuthi they must be directors, they must be supply chain managers, but they have no real plan to change the institutions, Comrade Chair. They want to go and steal like the old people who are stealing today. Now that is wrong for me. Umuntu njengaloku udirect ukhona udirector lomusha la Chair. It's not director lesiyom unveil ukhona lapha phakathi kwethu. Now, Director of Technical Services, you must be you must be a window of fresh air, Labagu Exco. Because it can't be, you know the other problem, Comrade Tulas and Comrade David. In 2016, we fought for a new generation of young councillors. We said it must be 40%. Whether we got it or not is another debate. But there's a sizable number of young people who are there. The question we must ask ourselves, 3 years down the line, what has changed in councils? Now that is the problem. Chogutis keep a Coco Brown, Spara Coco Brown Dominant. No, I beg is a Coco Brown over there, so good police. So, Nani Matota, you must shape up, man. You must shape up. You know, it's a tragedy, Comrade David, to find a young councillor who is MMC of finance. He has never read the financial mail. I go no business section in the newspaper. Mara every routine MMC of finance. Where does he get economic trends of the country? How does he inform decisions of council? Because that's very important. If we are going to law, we are then there is no change. So I'm saying, as we deal with this issue of young people, it's not only about age, Comrade Chair. In fact, Chair, when you spoke about leading and not having qualification, Tina in the youth league, as now as so stand at 9 at this time. We must be frank and open to each other here, comrades. If you don't go to school, you will not lead. It must be clear, Chairperson. You can't want to lead society through common sense. You are a danger to the organization. Now, for me, this is important because one of the things which delegitimizes our legitimate call of generational mixed comrade joy is the issue of weak young leaders. Other comrades make examples. No, we can't. Now, comrades, Comrade Joy spoke to a number of issues that affects young professionals, Comrade Castro, which I think when we write the newsletter, when the RCs write the newsletter next week, one of the things young professionals must know that the ANC Youth League is aware that they are highly indebted. In fact, the FNB, as problematic as it is, Comrade Joy, last year told us that many of them finished their salaries within 5 days.
In fact, it's 2 days.
Abotishera, Amanes, Amap, SAP, as I don't know if you call them professionals. And some people in these mines, it's a crisis. And what does that do? It lowers the productivity, it lowers the work morale. We have to basically, I but we are why recite go interview. Letting him go and you know, Comrade Chep, because they want to, some of the things which put them in debt are failures of the government, Comrade Joy. For instance, if we had an efficient health system, many of them will not be paying the money they are paying in medical aids. If we had an effective education system in our township schools, many of them bebangeke forced ukufundisa abantwana ekhulu ngoba kulezi zinto lezibafaka igweledeni lezo. And the logo kwenzani chair, because they pay so much for these things which they believe should be delivered by the state, they direct their anger towards the ANC. When it is time for elections, they don't come and vote. I always make a point is to say it still puzzles me, or ordinarily it should not be that in Midrand, Comrade Joy. In Midrand, the people who are there are motive forces of the revolution. In fact, many of them are there because of progressive policies of the ANC. But they don't go and vote the ANC because of this anger which they have privatized. They are staying there, they pay rent. 7,000, 8,000, they are only one salary away from Kayelisha or Soweto. Wanga patal nge 5 ukandi locksmith key. Funabuyele Soweto nebantwana. It is a problem, Che. And what is happening? their white counterparts have what we call historic assets. They inherited. Masicala kusebenza kuyithu lo akathenga ibond. Makafuna ukuthenga imoto, they give him cheaper interest rates. And this company, you know, we owe everything, comrades. We eat food on credit from Woolworths. Lama phone leswaphethe contract. Izimoto lesihamba ngazo siyazikweleta. Ma-flat esihlala kiwo siyapha. So we are 1 month away from all these things. Even the clothes. Kube nje bathi ma-retail stores are-repossessa comrade Kaneko. Boza comrade umkhande bamkhumula somewhere. Just that they don't do it. So I'm saying this is legitimate anger. And that is why we call young professionals here, Comrade David, today. For them to know that as the ANC Youth League, we know their pain. We know their pain. And their pain is our pain. And that is why Comrade Joy was very clear when she says to us, we are not going to give the leadership of the ANC a blank check. We are not going to wait for people outside of the ANC to be your guidance, or to be people who check on what you do. And one of the things which a dead youth league, Comrade Joy, I don't have a better word, a youth league that is not sharp, one of the things why the old people like it is that they can do wrong things and there's nothing which challenges them. You see, the laba bachonche Eskom, laba bachonche Tele, laba bachonche Transnet, the bachonche Mnandi in the previous 5 years. Because they knew that they had the youth league in their pockets. That is why comrades of Gert Sibande, of the ANC Youth League Comrade Chair, must fight for their independence or for their autonomy, lack of a better way. Because they will also help you, save you from yourself. Now, masokabanga kubang mayor, ukabanga ukuthi lapha sekashirwa, so ungabiza lapha districts, so ungabiza nje bonke uphuba posel. Youth League must be the first one to say, hey, stop it. Sikati. You know, in 2010, Comrade Muzi, when we were preparing for the NGC of the Youth League, the NGC of the Youth League took place in Kalang. The discussion documents there had Denel as a model of a state company that is well run. I don't know if you remember, Comrade David. It was one of the examples in 2010. In 2017, 2018, but Denel Isana Malia collapsed. And if we had a youth league that was biting, that was sharp, we're going to monitor and babysit this jewel called Denel because we want increased state ownership of the South African economy. Now, Benzano basafuna kang, bakale babula youth league. So once they start calling you at night, Comrade Castro, Comrade Tulas, wanting to tell you other things, you must tell them that in Mpumalanga. They know. They know. No, it's good they know. But tell them which is your time. Because this thing, what it does, the painful thing, Comrade Joy, it takes a bright young person, it makes him a stooge or a zombie that does nothing. And how do you expect young professionals to respect you? In fact, some of them are not here because they don't take us serious, Comrade Chair. Gubo asqabang. And it is because we did that to ourselves. Uthi umuntu omdala ngakhuluma into 10 somewhere, mase sibuya sesiyibambe njani. We some of them were even, you know, concepts which are about young people. You know, the concept of fourth industrial revolution, concept of unbundling. Those are concepts of young people, man, Comrade David. No nje nomuntu nomanga yazi lento sekufuna simlalele. It can't work like that. So on a very serious note, comrades, I am saying to you, you must take this thing very serious. It is a very serious issue and which we must attend to. Lastly, Comrade Chair, I want to speak to the issue of young professionals who are working for government. We know the challenges, but there's also, as I said earlier, there is no, they don't have confidence in themselves. That's the first point I want to make. If you hire a young person, I want to make an example with Mneni there. He's a former municipal employee. He's got a BCom from the University of Pretoria. When he works in Chief Albert Lutuli municipality, kuzofika a young person who graduated 6 years behind him, just because he or she is a consultant from KPMG. I'm telling into and is going to agree and not contest that. We see it with Auditor General, Comrade Joy. You know, Comrade Kuku, Comrade Auditor General, it's Umela Bantuana, man. But you can't HOT Achulugi. Achulugi, HOT. Quentin Jan Hotman, HG Con, HG Con, ever. You've been doing this thing for many years. Because advice is just by the way, don't do the PFME and MFMA. They are not, you just do a framework of auditing. And why is that? It is because we have created a perception in society that those who work in government are less of professionals than those who work in the private sector. We ought to rectify that. I think that is very important. Comrades in government, Comrade Kuku is here, Comrade Muzi, Comrade Top. You know, comrades, in government, one other thing which is a frustration, Comrade Chair, there's no innovation in the public sector, Comrade Kuku. Hey, we are committed to a template. Hey, template is a time. The achievement, mama knitting bizarre in Gonjalento challenge and Villanelle sprays. There's a Lihuta, there's this one which they fear most. PCF. Yeah, Mama PCF. I used to work with the mayor at some point, and I worked with an MEC. Maybe you have PCF, I used to sleep at 2:30. You must check a template. Whether is it compliant with how the DG said you must prepare it. Irrespective of the substance that is there. And what have these lazy and silly old managers done? They have noted that we like that thing. But consult template but they faka ama graph bafaka inamba ama ufika lapho uphethe template uphethela ama graph usho ukuthi angibambi. And you perpetually mislead our people who realize at the end. There's a clip circulating of combi courts. Look, the comrade is angry. But he must also take responsibility. Where was he for the last 11 months of the financial year? Because if you monitor expenditure, in his first semester, before he signs and takes to treasure. But because if and not interrogate the content of the template, so you young officials or young professionals, you must make sure that you change this thing, comrades. You prepare, or you also digitalize some of these things. Because the other thing, comrade, government outside meeting, comrade. I'm sure as treasury will tell us how much you pay on claims. Just travel from Nelspruit to Ermelo for an hour. Something you would have done on Skype or on a phone call. Those are some of the things, Comrade Chair, why we want young people. We don't want them because we know them. We don't want them because they are young. So now they must help us. Once they are there, society in general must feel a difference. Because there's a new generation of leaders now, and they are leading us well, and they are championing the development of South Africa and taking it to greater heights. If we fail to do that, comrade, even the young people which we claim to are leading are going to reject us like they've already started rejecting us. So their patience is wearing thin. This could be the last election we win if it will not change the way we think and the way we do things. Yeah. We must not take the votes of these young people for granted. Thank you very much.